What is going on, Wolfpack Nation? We are back with another live episode here, live stream show with the Tuffy Talk crew, and yeah, guys, it's been a really good week for state. In some ways not so great. I think actually this week is probably maybe a more not so great week than some positives, but we're here to talk all about it, and yeah, just checking in with the crew here. I think first off, you're noticing no Leighton tonight. He's not feeling so great. Oh,
sorry,
we're gonna apply for that.
I don't know.
Just
Probably
slow
not.
clap, or is it like
we gotta build it up.
Yeah. No, Leighton is kind of feeling the weather, guys. No, we're just hoping he gets to feeling better, and he's probably watching tonight. I don't know what he's doing, but not feeling so great. So we've got the four of us hanging out. I don't know where Michael's at, but he's being a loser right now, not being here. So
we got guys on the left, gals on the right. So we got the
right.
whole,
we're gonna
if
have
you're
fight
watching at home,
we're gonna fight you guys. So that's right. So yeah. So I guess big topics I think for us to kind of go through today. And we'll get to that. We've got some basketball. We've got on both men's and women's. Probably going to talk through. That's probably going to be the majority of our conversation in that regard today. We do have a little bit of football to talk about. But yeah, anybody got any opening thoughts for the show? Anything else? So if we can want to roll through, we can. But
it was definitely a meh week, right? Like
yeah,
1-1 on both sides for both the women and the men. So
right. Yeah, so let's talk about that. So do you want to start men's or women's first?
Let's do men's first so we can end on a positive.
I like it.
Smart.
Okay, men's basketball. So I think they got did they go 1-1 this week?
Yeah, Wake Forest.
So they got the win against Wake Forest at home.
Mm-hmm.
And then come right back home and drop a game to Virginia Tech.
Thinker.
Yeah, and I don't really know how to think about that other than that really should not have happened, but it did. So let's go through the first game. So State played Wake Forest. I'm going to pull up that score here. I don't have it handy. If you guys
83-76.
83-76. And State got the win. I thought the big storyline from that game besides well, I don't really know, but it was just
a ton of storylines.
Yeah, just getting the close game and honestly kind of pulling away late, I thought was a notable thing for State.
Yeah, coming back in the second half.
Right.
Keats is technical. I mean, you can dissect this from or double technical and ejection, and then
DJ Horn goes viral. We won't really. I don't know if we'll have that as a tweet of the week or anything like that, but
probably.
Yeah, I think it was an emotional game for State. It was a game where it took a lot of I don't know, a lot of grit to get through that one, and just a lot of just basically not being able to don't give up on this game, and they played through it. I'm going to pull up the stats, but Greg, any thoughts for you?
Yeah, I mean, they were down at 10 at the half, down as many as 12 in the game as a whole. Another, not another great shooting night at home from 3-point, and that'll be a little bit of a carryover to Virginia Tech. We can probably talk about that, but for the 2 home games for dating back to Carolina and then Wake Forest, we were 2 of 28 from 3-point land. So
yeah,
the shooting had continued. You had DJ Burns sick on the sidelines dealing with some stuff. That really was the epitome of a game. It had everything. It had ejections and lots of fouls.
Really did.
You had vomit. You had free chicken sandwiches. I mean, it had everything.
Yeah.
Ups and downs. I know we talked last week about how this was a game between teams who should be relatively evenly matched, and talking about seeing how State performs against a team that should be on that same level as them. So this game was all over the place. Obviously, we'll talk the Keats ejection. We'll talk DJ Horn. There was a lot going on there. But I think it was refreshing to see State pull through and be able to pull off the win here. And then Carson said in the comments, Wake is beating UNC by 1 at half in Chapel Hill. If Wake wins that game, would that make our win versus them Q1? I don't think technically that's how it works. I think it's based on standings in the net rankings. Is that right?
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well,
It can
what-
change over time, but
Right.
we did handle Louisville pretty good. I don't know. I can pull up the current net rankings to see. That changes on a daily basis. I mean, one day you could be a Q2, the next you could be Q1, and vice versa.
Right.
So, while you guys are talking, I'll go look up the current net real quick.
I
Yeah.
Go ahead, Kens.
I feel
Yeah.
like after that way, I mean, asking me after the weight game, y'all all know I'm optimistic. So I'm gonna say that. I mean, if you look at the halftime score, down by 10, we're usually not gonna be very positive going into the second half, thinking we're gonna win that game. And so
Yeah.
the fact that they did, like they came out during because we're not really a second half team, in my opinion. And so the fact that we came out and actually dug until we got out of that hole and took the lead. I think that was a big step, even though we couldn't shoot threes. Like, obviously, that's hurting us right now. But the fact that we could still pull off that win against a Wake Forest team who's extremely talented, I feel like that was a very positive look for us.
Agreed. Yeah, I don't
They were
think we
good.
should undermine this win. We did come back in the second half when, like you said, we're really not that second half team. We didn't shoot well. There was very well. Keats got ejected. There was room for, State to give up and just give Wake this game, and they didn't. And I think the mentality more than anything is what needs to be celebrated here. But then it just didn't really carry over into the weekend, which was disappointing.
Yeah, I think I looked it up, Greg, the net rankings. So Wake Forest at 42.
Yeah.
And quad one win at home would be in top 30. So if
they're
Wake
not
Forest
quite.
was to get the win, they would bump up, but it wouldn't be 12 points.
Not in one game, no.
No. So
I was getting ready to
you
say
do what
that.
they're doing. But for reference, State is
You beat
79.
them
So
still, like
yeah.
we're not saying don't.
No,
Right,
I mean,
no, I get it.
I mean, any team that you beat, you want them to keep winning, so their net, in theory, goes up. Now, there are instances where you do win and your net does drop, but for the most part, if you keep winning, your net will increase.
Yeah, especially if they beat UNC tonight. So to answer your question, Carson, if Wake beats UNC, they'll probably go up in the net rankings, but it won't automatically, most likely, make this a Q1 win, but it still has the possibility to eventually be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
for reference, NC State is third in the ACC right now, and Wake Forest is second. So them losing and dropping a game when State dropped a game will be good for NC State in some regard. Depends how you look at it. In conference, it will help. Not nationally, though.
Yeah.
Right. You had where we really made our hay in that Wake Forest game was bench points. Wake only had 2 bench points where we had roughly 30 bench points. So that was a big difference in the game. And then you held 2 individuals on Wake Forest, all the scoring, Carr and Miller. Though Carr did have a career high. It always seems like we're talking about someone having a career high against us, it feels like. But we limited the damage, and it was a really gritty win. I thought the game really turned when Middlebrooks and his crew, him and Diarra, were running together. I felt like they just brought a lot of juice, and we were really, really scrappy. And then I think we ended up taking the lead for good. I think with like 3 minutes left, I feel somewhere around that number.
Yeah. I mean, Wake was up by 10 at the half, and 45-35, and State came back there. I think they outscored Wake in the second half, 48-31.
Yeah,
so
we only missed like 2 shots in the last 9 minutes of the game. I think was the stat.
But I think the thing to me, the 2 numbers that I think also are pretty impressive and both good with and bad. You mentioned they had poor shooting nights, like behind the 3. They literally shot 0%. They were 0 for 8.
Yeah,
and they won the game by 7 points. That's really rare and hard to do.
Yeah, I think
they had 50 points in the paint.
Yeah.
I think the last time that happened was against Wake, ironically, and I want to say because Tim Peeler had the stat, it was like 1987, 1989 was like the last time we didn't hit a 3-pointer in a game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just I think that was a game where it was a lot of heart for NC State to get that win, and that's really good. They're going to need that. But they go just kind of a few days later. I think that game was on. Was that game on a Tuesday?
Yeah, the Wake Forest was Tuesday.
Okay,
Mhm.
they go on this weekend on Saturday at noon, and they lose to Virginia Tech, who I think Virginia Tech was like 9th in the ACC or 10th.
They were
They're-
2-4.
They're
So.
they're 10th in the ACC right now.
Yeah.
So they were 10-7 coming into that game. I don't really. I mean, to me, when I watched that game, that was the first game I've been able to go to this season in person. My wife was in her VT gear, so she really enjoyed the game. But
We did.
but we were picking on each other. I was elbowing her, and I was like, whenever a state would score, I'd be like, "You suck," and whenever Virginia Tech scored, she'd be like, "You suck," and it was really funny. But it was like
she got the last "you suck" out of
she got the
Yeah.
She was like, "Look who's leading now," and it was kind of funny. But to me, like, it was bad defense. I mean, like,
Very bad.
I don't know. I mean, like, I felt like there were so many times there were so many guys in the corner open for a three. I thought they really, I don't know. The points in the paint were a tie. I think not only defense, but I'd also go turnovers. State had a lot of turnovers in this game that they don't normally have. It's 17 turnovers.
Yeah. We turned them over. I think it was 20. And you're thinking, oh, man, you won the turnover battle. But when you have 17, you really didn't win the turnover battle because you gave them just as many opportunities, essentially.
Exactly.
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't understand how we cannot figure out that Hunter Couture is always going to ball out against us. It happens.
Yeah, he's a good player. He is a good player.
I don't understand why we leave him wide open beyond.
But see, here's the crazy thing is I'm looking at these turnover numbers and I'm looking at other things. Okay, well, maybe you can see it. It's not in steals. It's not in blocks. State had 18 second chance points to Virginia Tech's 5. And points off turnovers was their 25. If they were into that 25 or 22, so it's kind of a wash. That tells me, and I remember thinking about it, a lot of those turnovers are just silly mental error, like DJ throwing out of bounds, or just I stepped out of bounds, or I'm going to basically throwing the ball, giving away, like
deep passes. Yeah,
it was dumb turnovers. So, I don't know.
I mean, UVA was only 3-3 in the conference coming into the game. They hadn't won a true road game all year. I mean, everything was setting up there where it should have been, not a stressful day as a Wolfpack fan, but unfortunately that just didn't come to fruition for us. And, we finally started hitting a few threes. We ended up going 6 of 19, but at one point,
Casey for ending that drought.
Yeah, I mean, Casey did have a nice game. I think he ended up with like 11 or 12 points.
Getting out of his slump, I hope.
He had 19 points.
Wow.
He had 19 points.
More than I thought. Yeah.
Freaking 9 out of 10 of free throws, wasn't it?
He had a lot of free. Yeah, he had 19.
Yeah,
he
was
did have a lot. 9 of 10 from free throws. But I know, like, I think he hit like 6 of those free throws were off of 3-point attempts where he got fouled. But so he ended up having 19.
We shot free throws better this game too than we normally do because we shot I think at 83%. So they're 20 for 24. State's not actually that great of a free throw shooting team. So it was. I thought at the end when they got it down to 5, there was maybe a chance they could come back and steal it away, but that was the thing. So I know we're just kind of bouncing ideas, but Lindsay, you have any other thoughts on the game?
I was going to say with the turnovers, it's frustrating because, you can say when you have that many turnovers, what was it, 19, 18?
Turnovers, I had 17 to 17, but it was, I think it was equal amount of turnovers. I had 14 steals, 14 steals for State. Just their 7. I had 4 blocks. They're 1. What were you saying, Greg?
Are you using the score app? Is that? I know you typically use the score. Yeah. So ESPN had it 20 to 18 turnovers.
Okay. Yes. So the frustrating thing is you can say, when you have 20 turnovers, you shouldn't be winning a game. And you can be like, okay, that's valid. But also Virginia Tech had 18. Like this was just something that was terrible on both sides of the game. And we weren't able to find another avenue to find success when this was a pretty even playing field. Like we turned it over a lot, but also so did they. So that's not really a valid excuse here. I thought that the win against Wake Forest was one that really came from the heart. It took a lot out of this team to get that win, having been down 10 at halftime, dealing with some ref issues, some ejections. So it was really frustrating to see that kind of not transfer over into the weekend for a game that we really should have been winning.
Yeah, I think the point that your point on turnovers, Lindsay, I think this, like, I get that, but I know State, they're one of their main keys to success is having a positive turnover margin, and like it is like 77, it's a wash, but for State that's not a good thing. Like they need to have like +5 turnover margin for them to feel like they have a good chance to win. And when I was watching the game halfway, and I was like, it was like half and half, and I was like, I don't know, that's a really good thing for NC State right now, and it turned out not to be, in my opinion. But
yeah, for me, you lose by 6, and they hit 3 more 3-pointers than you do, and a lot of that was, I think, to your point, Macon, was there was a lot of wide open threes. If you tighten down that defense, throw a hand up in their face, maybe they don't make so many, maybe you steal one right there. But I will say, watching NC State, it's not pretty basketball. Our wins, we seem to struggle with a lot of it, and that's okay. Like, you can win ugly and muddy up the playing field, if you will, because at the end of the day, no one really doesn't remember scores. You just remember, your record, right? And they don't know how you get to that point.
Sure.
Yeah.
But it's ugly. I mean, we this is the team, and I guess you could say it's a positive as well, but this team has to scratch and claw for everything they get. I mean, every inch that they get, they have to just fight and fight and fight. And I know, speaking for myself and probably a lot of Wolfpack fans, we would just like to go to a game and just enjoy it and not stress. Yeah, right.
Have our heart rate stay the same the entire game.
Yeah, well, I mean, you could say that, but look at Carolina right now.
Right,
they're losing.
Yeah. But I mean,
so
I think
you got to play the games at the end of the day. I get that.
The most frustrating thing for me is we were all gang-ho about the depth that we had on this team going into the season. And it's like, this was the first game where we actually had to see the foul trouble that some of our guys were getting in. And like Greg said, like, defense, that could have putting a hand up in the face, but could have gotten called for a foul. So Jaden Taylor backed off on defense. So why not put in an LJ Thomas or somebody that's aggressive on defense that doesn't have any fouls? It's just like, what's the point of hyping up our depth if it's not going to be used? And that's the most frustrating thing to me, because I feel like if we would have had some fresh guys in that could run defense and wasn't worried about getting fouled out or being able to actually be aggressive on that side of the ball, I feel like it could have turned that game around really fast, but we didn't even try.
That's super valid. I agree. Like, this was something we talked about all the time going into this season was, if somebody fouls out, if somebody's in foul trouble, if somebody's hurt, like, we'll be okay. And, I remember we talked about that a lot. We were excited about it. And then to not see that actually come to fruition when we need it is definitely frustrating. And so I think that's something we're going to need to utilize in these games that just aren't turning out the way we expected or wanted.
I think that we just need an explanation as to why we're not seeing some of these guys getting playing time. Because, I mean, we don't go to practices and see it every day, but it's like you have some really good talent sitting on the bench.
Like, I wonder, where's MJ Rice been, right? He's been MIA for the last 2 or 3 games.
Cam Woods. LJ Thomas, I think, has seen maybe 2 minutes the entire season. So it's like, and Breon hit a crazy 3 going into half, didn't see him again afterwards. So it's like,
so crazy.
It's just confusing as to what decisions are made to put guys
in. And I wonder sometimes too if part of it is you have so much depth, if that is maybe coming to bite you, because you're not getting guys gelling, having this chemistry maybe that you would want them to kind of get in a rhythm. Like I know, like, for instance, it's not necessarily the best analogy, but like an offensive line, you don't rotate a ton of guys. You generally want to have the same guys there. So maybe that's part of it. I don't know. But I think, to me, I don't understand why we're shooting so poorly from behind the 3-point line. And I thought it was interesting, too. Like, I'm noticing more and more, I think teams are starting to figure out how to defend DJ Burns, right?
I was talking about that today.
Because he finished 8 points, 4 rebounds, and, like, 3 assists. So 3 assists isn't bad, but, like, the 8 points is not great for him. I mean, he was pretty much held in check the whole night. 4 fouls.
Yeah, 3 assists and 3 turnovers, right? So that's a 0 net gain there.
And like his 4 fouls, that's another thing. Like he was double teamed, couldn't be aggressive to try to get to the baskets because he was afraid of fouling out. So it's just frustrating to see some of these guys that are having to like not be as like watching the end of the game. Jaden Taylor was not his defensive self, and it was you could tell. So it's like it's frustrating to see that on TV where you're like, hey, this could definitely be avoided. These wide open threes in these last 2 minutes could definitely be avoided, but
I think the other thing for me with DJ Burns is like he'll give you some great passes out of the post, and we're just not knocking down shots. I mean, he's giving guys wide open looks.
He can't help them. He can't make them make the shot or shoot three. I mean, he's going to only do what he can do. So
right, yeah, he'll get doubled pass out of it, get a nice pass out to the perimeter, and we're just not making shots for him. So that's not helping. So he might only have 8 points, but he can assist 4 or 5 times, and that which could make it for another 10 to 15 points, if you will, or whatever. The one point I wanted to make is Michael O'Connell, like he gives you a nice spark off the bench from a point guard, and I feel like the offense runs much more efficiently. The problem is he's not a big scorer, so like what he does give you offensively as far as leadership and vision and all of that, he doesn't make up enough because again we're not a great shooting team. Like I wish
it's shot creation. I feel like he gives you, but he doesn't give you much else.
Points.
He actually is not a bad rebounder. I will say that he's kind of had his moments rebounding, but that's about it.
Yeah. So it's like one of those, like the offense runs better, but then he's not as a good as defender as like Jaden Taylor, right? Or like he's not going to shoot at a higher percentage of like a DJ Horn or even a Jaden Taylor when Jaden is making shots. So, like, while he gives you quality minutes, I think he played like 25 minutes on Saturday. There's just not a lot of personal offensive production, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I know we had some Tuffy's mailbag questions from our Discord members about men's basketball. So do we want to hop over there before we discuss women's?
Sure.
Sure. We can do that. Yeah, that sounds good.
All right, let's do it.
All right. So to this point, men's basketball.
I see this all the time. You see this all the time now. It's like
okay. Well, we're gonna ask it and we're gonna talk about it for at least like 2 or 3 minutes. So, should Coach Keatt be fired if NC State misses out on the tournament this year, regardless of the recruits we have coming in? And Mackenzie, since you said something first, I'm gonna go to you. What do you think?
I don't want to get blocked by him again.
All right, Greg, your turn.
I'm kidding.
I don't want to get blocked either. Next, no, I'm just kidding.
No comment.
I don't know.
We've
seen for years him being a great recruiter. Like we see it. We know he's a good recruiter. That's not a shock to us. But it's like every year we go in thinking we're gonna be this great team, and it's like, where is that talent that we were seeing when they were recruiting them? So it's like it kind of does a decline throughout the season. So I feel like if we miss out on the tournament, it's definitely a talk to have because as of right now, it's not looking too swell for us. But I mean, 2015 since our last NCAA tournament win, that's not okay. It's just not. And so I think there definitely needs to be some talks. I don't know if that means finding a new coach, or I think that there just needs to be figured out behind the scenes. I think there's stuff going on behind the scenes that we don't really understand what's going on.
Okay, Greg, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think, to Mackenzie's point, he is a great recruiter. The guys do play hard for him. There's no question about that. It's, he hasn't lost the locker room like a Mark Gottfried did, which is the reason why, he kind of needed to go with, and especially with all the things that happened because of him, which leads me to Kevin Keatt's inheriting that mess. And, and I think this is the second season or the first full season that we were cleared. When were we cleared, Macon, if you can remind me? Was it last season? Yeah, from all the NCAA nonsense.
It was I think going into last year we didn't.
Was it? Yeah, was it before the basketball season started?
Yes, I think so. He had that Colliver said going into last season.
Yeah. So if you know, and I think that has had a negative impact on the recruiting. There's just no doubt in my mind that, you know, other coaches were using that against us. So, you know, I think we've won maybe 2 ACC games under his tenure in the tournament, in the ACC tournament. We've not won, like Ken said, we haven't won NCAA tournament since he's been here. 7 years is, I think, you know, a long time to.
I'm gonna stop you there, Greg.
Yeah,
hey,
I know.
What'd you tell me about Dave Dorn, man?
I know.
What's the standard, man?
Yeah, what is the standard? That's right.
I don't know. That's my thought. So I'll tease it there. But Lindsay, what are your
It's frustrating, right? I mean, it's frustrating.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like people ask this all the time. Like Ken said, last week we talked about, is Keats in the Herb zone? And I think we're going in that direction. Again, he's a great recruiter, and that's great, but you can only be just a great recruiter for so long. Like, you know, we were talking about just a few minutes ago, we were so excited coming into the season that we have all these great recruits, all this depth, and now we're not seeing that translate onto the court, and that's really frustrating. And this does seem to be a coach, like Greg was saying, that the guys respect. You know, he has a certain authority over the team, but if the team's not winning, that's an issue. Again, to make it to the tournament, we have to start questioning, is that enough? Is it enough to just make it to the tournament every year and lose in the first round? Yeah. Lynn here in the comments says he misses the tournament. He has to go. There's zero excitement around this program. We don't have good turnouts for games now. Next year will be really bad. So, yeah, I don't know. I think it's moving in that direction, but I don't have a firm stance that he has to go after this year or doesn't. But I think it's kind of going in that direction if he can't pick up these NCAA tournament wins, these ACC tournament wins, and prove that this is a competitive program.
Yeah, great. Thought there. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I think his contract, if I'm reading all the tea leaves right, runs through 2028.
He's got 2028. I think he's got 2 more years on his contract after this year's over.
Right, because originally it was 2026, but then he got a year because of the investigation, and then I think he got a year for the NCAA tournament, making the tournament last year.
It's $2.7 million a year.
Correct. So you're looking at roughly $9 million buyout.
Well, if you fired him right now, if you wait to the end of the season, I think it's 2 years, right? So it'd be 5.4. Would that not be the case?
No, he would still have. He goes until 28, and this is only the 24 season, so you'd have 4 more years. You'd have 25, 26, 27, and 28. It runs through the 28 season.
Okay, all right.
So,
I missed that. Then I go back.
Yeah,
if everything, I thought it was a different date.
Yeah,
okay.
I don't know. Like maybe fact check me on that, but. So say he goes to 28. I mean, you're looking at $8 to $9 million for a buyout. If it's 2.7 at 4, you'll probably, you know, usually a buyout, they'll knock a few dollars off of that. So, you know, you're probably looking at about a $6 to $7 million buyout to send him elsewhere. I don't know. I don't know if that's a good number for State, right? Obviously, we're not privy to those numbers. But I will say that Kevin Keatt is not a Boo Corrigan hire. You know, Boo did inherit him, so there's really no, I don't know what that relationship is like, and they're not tied to each other's hip.
Yeah, you're right, Greg. He does have a 2.2. That was one thing I was not considering. So he has the 2.7 million per year that ran through 26, and he did exercise the 2-year extension. So it is 28. So it would be 28, 27, 27, 26, 26, 25. And then so he would have 4 more years, which at 2.7 would be 10.8.
Yeah. Like I said, you probably can buy him out for 7 to 8 million.
Yeah. So that is certainly a factor. And that contract really sucks now when you think about it. So here's my opinion. Let's say, because my math was wrong. I thought he had like 2 years left. I would let him go, man. I'll be honest with you. I would let him go 2 years ago. Or I think it's hard to also say that when you're 3rd in the ACC right now, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm saying that, and I'm also
the
saying
ACC also isn't the same talent that it was.
Well, I agree with that. I mean,
But if you finish top
maybe
4
we
in the
could
ACC,
well, we can revisit that comment. But
if you finished in top 4 in the ACC, you're more than likely getting in the NCAA tournament.
right there, I mean, that's
But
But
the
is that
issue
enough? Is that
is-
good enough? Right? Obviously,
That's
it's
what
not.
I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have Keats going to the tournament, but the whole time he's been
We're not
coached, he's
winning
never
in
had
the
an NCAA tournament win.
right.
Like, is it enough to go to the tournament knowing you were going to lose in the first round with Keats?
I mean,
don't think
68
so.
teams do it.
No, I mean, like, you realize what we're talking about, guys. We're like over here justifying, trying to be nice about, well, we didn't get in the tournament, and we don't, or we do get in the tournament, we lose out, but we've got this one player coming in, and he's kind of good, or we got two. We got Tremaine Stevens or Tremaine Parker.
Yeah.
And it's like, we're talking, oh, we got to bring this guy in. Like, maybe they are good, but like,
Paul McNeil's definitely good.
well, yeah, I get that.
71 points.
But
Good.
is one player going to change NC State's trajectory?
He scored 71.
But we have talked
Yeah.
about it. You only need
Yeah.
3 to 4 horses to make a run.
He could totally do it. I don't talk about Paul McNeil.
Yeah.
I've seen 7 years of this with Keats, and granted, he's had 2 years now.
Right.
He's had a year. We did it. We didn't really do anything, and then this year we are better in the ACC, but we haven't made the tournament yet, so maybe the jury's out. But
And I feel like
to me, we're NC State, and I'm not saying like we're winning national championships like regularly or anything like that right now, but like we do have multiple national championships. We have many ACC championships. The goal is to win an ACC championship in my mind right now. Like, that should be getting back to that. And
that should be the minimal
I will
standard.
say this is the closest season we've had to sniffing that higher seed in the AC tournament. But like, if I look at the full body, I don't see how I can keep Keats around if I can help it for long. Unless if he were to win a game, yes. But I think to the question here, if he doesn't make the tournament, we're just going to say, yeah, let's just keep rolling with it. I mean, the only thing I could see as a reason why they wouldn't is if the buyout's too big. I mean, and Paul McNeil,
exactly
maybe.
where I'm at. That's where I'm at. I don't think he gets fired after this year unless the rails just come off the wagon.
Yeah, it's just. But the question being, if he misses out, I would say, yeah. If you can find the money and someone's willing to give it, I say yes. But
correct.
Buyouts almost $11 million now, so I just don't think that's not chump change.
And you got to pay a new coach.
Yeah.
Yep. So I think we've kind of beat this one down a little bit, and I think we should move on. But hey, this is how we feel about it, and move right along. So we got any other questions, Lindsay?
Yeah. Last note, though, we were talking about ACC rankings, saying it's hard to say this about the number 3 team in the ACC. But the number 1 team and the number 2 team we're playing right now, and the number 1 team is up by 12 points and was up by like 14 or 15 a minute ago. So we also have to say, like Ken said, the ACC isn't necessarily what it was. It doesn't necessarily have the talent that it does. And the difference between each, ranking in the ACC seems to be pretty big. So I don't think 3rd in the ACC is necessarily doing Keats that many favors. But we have one more mailbag question here. If NC State manages to beat both UVA and Cuse on the road this week and improve to 2-4 in quad 1 games, how would you guys feel about the team?
I mean, winning an away game in the ACC is hard. Like, it's definitely hard. Always has been. So the fact that we're undefeated on the road, if we can keep being undefeated on the road, that's a huge thing, huge plus. But I just feel like we're kind of opposite of where we should be. We should be undefeated at home and having struggles on the road. So
yeah, well, I'll go to this. So Virginia and Syracuse are both 7 and 6 in the ACC, respectively, right now. So you get 2 road wins against those teams. I don't know where they're at in the net, but I am going to look. Virginia is 47. I just happened to glance at it. Virginia is 47. So that would be a top 50. I mean, that would be a quad 1 win because you've beaten a team on the road. Yep. And let's see, you said Syracuse.
I think they might be 1 as well.
8.
Yeah, they're 1 then.
68. So it would be. I thought it was the top 75 on the road. Is that right?
70 or 75. Yeah.
Yeah. So you get 2. If you were to get 2 quad 1 wins,
It's a
Heck
big
yeah,
deal.
heck yeah, that would be helpful. I would be.
I mean, hold on. I'll take it a step further. You need these two because there's only like 4 or 5 more.
Yeah.
You still have to go play at Carolina. You still got to play Duke.
Yeah.
You still got to play.
There's not a lot of quad 1 opportunities in this league to the point we were making earlier. These are must. I don't care what anyone says, and this is just my personal opinion. These are must-haves. If you're going to try to make the tournament, you're already behind the 8 ball with Q1 wins. These Q1 wins are what the tournament committee looks at when it's time to make selections. And if you're not having Q1 wins, they don't want you. Yeah, they don't want you.
Yep. So it's going to be.
Here's the thing: these are
say,
easy. These are the easier Q1 games too.
Exactly. I was about to say that. I mean, these are the more
other than it being a road win.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
but
they are on the road, but I feel like these are
going to be way easier than Carolina.
I will say
these are a lot more reasonable Q1 games.
Yeah, I will say State under Keatt has had a higher winning percentage against UVA than most other teams.
Yeah.
So State does match up well against UVA in a Kevin Keatt system, whatever that really looks like. They've won some more games than they've lost against UVA.
Yeah,
and I think like a few years ago, State won back-to-back seasons against UVA, and they were like the first ACC team to do that in years. So
yeah, we lost there last year, 50-63, but we had won the previous 2 matchups at UVA. We in 2021 we won 68-61, and then in 2019-2020 we won 53-51.
Yeah, and I think to Lynn's comment again there, when you win these 2, that helps you big time. You lose, it could get ugly quick. If State, I mean, my thing is though, if State loses, what are we going to do? I mean, like again, the buyout is huge on Keatt's contract. Like, what are you going to do?
Be depressed.
I mean,
about it.
Drink.
Yeah. And Alex Yarosh is going to say Judah Mintz is tough to contain. That dude, side note, he is a guy who loves to draw contact and fouls. So he is he's a guy who likes to do that. So just be prepared for that. But yeah, I would feel better. But to Greg's point, for everybody, great point. I think it's a must wins.
I think. Well, and another note. We've lost our last 2 in Syracuse as well. Yeah. It's a dome that we do have troubles now. Again, that was under
every
go ahead.
Sport. In every sport, we have trouble.
Yeah. Now this is a Jim Boeheim less team. So like I know they don't run the same offense and defense that they used to run under him. So this will be a little bit different. We'll see how we match up. On the other side note, I will be in Charlottesville on Wednesday night for the game. So I don't know why I keep doing it to myself.
UVA is a nice stadium.
It is a beautiful arena. Yeah, I honestly, I've been to Tech. Virginia Tech and Virginia. So they're really the only 2 that I have to base it off of. But Virginia is probably one of the nicer facilities. It's right about 15,000, which is a great number. Even if you're high up, it still feels intimate. It's a really nice facility. So
yeah,
it'll be fun. The UVA, I don't know. Like I'm sure it's going to be probably a full house, even with their struggles. They do support their basketball, but it's not the same UVA teams, and so maybe the crowd won't quite be in it. And we've already beat them once.
Yeah. So.
And then if we want to discuss some women's basketball here before we hop on over to tweets of the week. So the women also went 1-1 this week. Macon, if you want to kind of expand on that and tell us what went on.
Yeah. So the most previous thing was they got that win against Duke, but the game before that, they dropped a game at Miami, and I think the score is just real quick. NC State beat Duke 72-57. They lost to Miami 73-59.
And it wasn't even that close. We got some garbage points at the end to kind of make it a little bit more respectable.
Yeah, and I'm just gonna go. So let's go in chronological order. So bad first, State losing at Miami. State, I didn't watch this game, so I don't know if somebody else did, but it was.
Yeah, we did the watch party. Leighton and I did.
Yeah, what were y'all's thoughts on that?
I mean, we shot really bad. I think we ended up shooting like 28% for the game. Didn't shoot great from 3-point. I think we were around 26% for that. A lot of turnovers. We got beat really bad in the paint. and then I think they beat us pretty good off of the bench. Isaiah James and Madison Hayes kind of just didn't have their normal games for points. I thought Mimi Collins did play a good game. Just struggled shooting. I mean, it was just it wasn't.
Yeah, it looks like it.
Yeah, it was just a bad shooting performance, and there was some not great body language. Apparently, Wes was not happy with their film study prep in that game, and so I guess when we talk about the Duke game, I think they did study film pretty well. But just one of those nights where you're just not shooting the ball very well, and those are going to happen. I mean, it's an away game, so maybe you're just not familiar with shooting there or whatever. But yeah, the effort
into it there too.
What's that now?
Miami's crowd was very into the game too. So
yeah. What few they had that they were into it.
The 12 that were there, whatever it was.
Yeah,
but,
I think our parent section was larger than the whole Miami. I think they had more band members than fans.
Yeah, I'm looking here at a stat, and I'm curious because I don't know if it adds up on their end, but maybe you watched it, Greg. The stat I'm seeing here is Miami had 38 points in the paint.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
To our what's the
16,
number here?
I think it was
16, something like that. Let me look it up. Make sure I'm telling y'all right.
Yeah.
It is points in the paint 15.
15.
Or no. 15. Yeah, it's 15. Oh well. 16 points in the paint to their 38. So it was pretty bad. About 2.5 points in the paint different. So.
We had like 15 plus turnovers. Like it was just a lot of silly mistakes. The big thing was just shooting. We just didn't shoot the ball well. I thought we struggled just defending them as a whole. I thought the rebounds ended up being pretty close. But they just got into the paint and just did what they wanted. We just didn't defend. We didn't defend great, and we didn't shoot.
Bad defense. Yeah.
Yeah, and those are just two recipes for disaster. If you're not defending and you're not making shots, then
if you can't make shots, you need to make up for it on defense, right?
Correct.
Correct. As a competitor, you need to make up for it somewhere.
Yeah.
And if you're not making shots, and you're also not defense, that's not good.
Look, it's gonna happen. You're gonna, most teams are gonna have one stinker a year, and so it's okay to have that, on a road and early-ish in the ACC schedule. But I guess we can go ahead and talk about yesterday in Duke because they rebounded really well.
They did. Yeah, they came home and beat Duke 72-57. State did shoot the ball much better at home. They shot about 45%. They could have been better from three. They were 33%, but that's average, I would say. They just had a nice game. It sounded like I think one of the key notes there was Isaiah James.
Yep.
33 points and 8 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals. I mean,
new career high. She was 12 of 20 for shooting. Yeah. The other big note was the return of River Baldwin after a 3-game absence.
That was
she had a really good stat line. She didn't have as many points, but she had a 9.6 rebounds, 5 assists, and 7 steals. Those assist and steal numbers are killer. 1 block.
You talking about Sanaya Rivers or River Baldwin? That sounds like Sanaya Rivers.
Sanaya Rivers. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
Sanaya Rivers. So
yeah, that's okay.
My bad. River Baldwin, 6 points, 3 rebounds. There you go.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's
I think she ended up playing like 15 minutes. Is that number right?
River Baldwin 17 minutes.
17 minutes. Yeah. So. They eased her back into it. I stayed after the game to hear Wes's post-game comments. He said, River could have given him a couple more minutes, but I thought that, that was a good comeback for her first game. It looked like at times she was laboring, trying to get up and down the court with the ankle. But, she'll have a couple of days. I think the next game is Thursday.
It is at 7.
Clemson. At Clemson.
Yeah. So, it was a game that this team needed. The crowd was really good, really engaged. It was obviously it's a sold out crowd. There wasn't many empty seats. And so I thought they did a great job locking down Duke early in the game, especially in that first quarter. They did let off the gas a little bit in the fourth, and Duke made a little bit of a run there. But I thought they closed them out well. I think that's what the team needed. Yeah, absolutely.
What were your thoughts, Lindsay?
Good. I was just going to say, after an obviously bad game at Miami, you come back and beat Duke by 15, but State still fell 3 places in the rankings this week from 4 to 7. Do y'all think that's valid, or do you think, like you said, Greg, like everybody has a stinker game once a season and you should only fall maybe 1 spot or 2?
Yeah, I thought I had made a comment in a group that I'm a part of with women's basketball. I had said they were going to probably be either 7th or 8th, so I thought 7th was right where they should have landed. It could have been worse, but there was a lot of top teams that lost last week. I know Colorado took a loss, Iowa took a loss, I think Baylor took a loss.
I just don't like Colorado being over us.
Yeah, that's a little bit of a tough one. But if you look at their 2 losses, they've lost to top 10 teams, so it's a little bit more understandable why they're getting a little bit more favorable ranking than we are. But I get it. The head-to-head is the kind of the crux. But as they say, not all losses are equal and not all wins are equal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me ask a question here.
Go ahead, Megan. You got it.
I was gonna say, what do we as an individual player from that Duke game? How did Mimi Collins look? Because she had a really nice stat line. She had 16 points, 10 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 blocks. What you think about her, Greg, in that game?
Yeah, I thought she made some really good stops. She had a really nice block. I always love Muggin Mimi, as I call her. I like her, just her attitude, especially when she makes a big play. I thought she was really nice. The whole team played really well. They played through each other. I think just having River back was the big thing, because as Wes likes to work it inside out, and so you had that presence where the offense just seemed like it was back to where it should be.
Yeah. The difference between our men's and women's team is, like, we watched the men's team lose like our girls did to Miami. It's like, okay, is this how the rest of the season's going to be? Like, our girls come back and show you, like, hey, that was an off day, we're back. Like, you don't really stay down long to watch our women's basketball. So that's the difference. Is you can tell that team is they click really well, they play really well together, and it's like if they're down, they're not going to be down for more than 1 game.
Yeah.
I know for me, I'll let Lindsay, and I'll throw my last.
I forgot what I was going to say, or we covered it.
So for me, having gone to both games on Saturday, there's just no doubt that the atmosphere is completely different. Even when, state men make a run, it just doesn't feel electric at PNC unless it's a really big game for, either Duke or Carolina. But like every time I'm in Reynolds, and I know it's a smaller arena, so the noise is more condensed and, solid. It just feels different going to watch a women's game than a men's game. And it's not, the performance obviously is one thing, but it's just a different feeling. And I feel like I'm getting into the women's games more than I am the men's game. And I don't know if that's because one is ranked and the other one isn't, and just the recent history of it. I don't know, but I wish I could get that same feeling for the men's, because they deserve it. I mean, they work hard, but it just doesn't have the same feel.
Fans deserve it. To be honest
with
you,
for sure.
But I will say these games that State has coming up, women's basketball on the road, are going to be this should be wins for State. You play at Clemson, I think is a below 500 team. You play Boston College, who's just over 500, and then you come home and play UNC on February 1st. So these should be good tests. And that, to me, if I'm interested, I should take pride in the idea of I'm going on these road games and I'm going to get these wins, because I didn't play well last time against Miami. So I think they should look at that as like a goal ahead of them to make kind of similar to try to make up for what they did in dropping a ball against Miami. So we'll see how it goes. But I think, unless someone has any closing thoughts, I think we probably should move on for sake of time. But,
real quick, I think Isaiah is back. She did struggle the last 2 games, so if she's found her groove, watch out, because I think she is definitely an X factor for this team.
She balled out against Duke.
Yeah. Really awesome. She was awesome. She's awesome. But anyways, go ahead, Lindsay.
We want to hop over to tweets of the week, Megan?
Yeah, I was going to say, let's go tweets of the week.
Let's do it.
All right. So obviously we talked about this with Keats getting thrown out of the game. Wake Forest, coming from our own account, I'm pretty sure by the way this is written, this is a latent tweet, I think. So So he says,
Definitely, he does all the capital letters.
good for Keats. Go get him, Keats. These refs have been absolute dog, and then something, and then the whole night. So
yeah, it definitely wasn't me. 'Cause I was out.
yeah, and
Not
then like 4 like red mad faces and all that. So yeah, I mean, I will say Keats getting thrown in the
Angry
game.
latent tweets are the best.
Yeah.
They're still rated G. That's the funny thing.
Yeah,
Has anybody actually ever seen Leighton say anything and be this kind of mad before? Like, it's pretty. Because he's such a super nice guy. So it's kind of hard for me to
no,
see.
it's only on Twitter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Only on
That's
Twitter.
when I see a completely different side.
Yeah. So, lady, if you're watching, like, what's the deal, man? But
I love reading the quote tweets too and the responses to people
Right.
like hyping him up when he gets mad.
he got over 200 likes.
lately.
So I mean, people.
Oh yeah,
Whatever.
people are into this tweet.
People acknowledge. So, anyways, I mean, to me, just as a on topic, I think Keats getting thrown in the game actually may have been what that team needed that game, right?
Mhm.
Because they needed some motivating factor. And also, I would say shout out to Kareem Richardson for coaching through that game. But I really do think that was him sticking up for his players and for his team, and it got the team fired up. And I think that would help them, particularly going towards the end, to finish that game out well. I mean, again, we talked about earlier, they scored 48 points in the second half to, I think, Wake Forest 31, I think it was. So they were down by 10. They came back. So it might have been strategic, I wonder, at times. Like he said, this is I'm willing to go all in right now emotionally on this.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
He was
Keats
also sick,
obviously-
so maybe he didn't want to even be there. I know that's not true, but
Yeah, Keats was obviously not the only one mad at the refs. Like I'm sure everybody's seen the DJ Horn memes.
Respect.
So I think him, being kind of the martyr here, standing up for his team gave them like that fire and that kind of sense of heart they needed to pull out that win.
And like the fans have said this since Keats got here. We want to see Keats like that. We want to see our coach take up for our team. We want to see him get mad when BS happens. And the fact that he's done that more these past 2 seasons than he ever has. So that is a plus. I think that maybe he needs to get kicked out of more games.
every game he's going to get thrown out with technical. Yeah.
So maybe that could help, but.
Side note: at the end of the game, where they had like 3 technicals that they threw out, like two double technicals, and it was like
we should not have. They should.
I didn't understand who was getting fouled. It was like you get a foul, you get a foul, and
that whole
just
thing. I
fed
mean,
up.
that whole thing was just a debacle with Jeffrey Anderson. He became a side story with the whole like working 8 days in a row, being all over the country, and the end was you had the doubles on. Middlebrooks and the 1 weight guy. Well, no, the 1 weight guy. That was the first one.
Solace.
Yeah, and then Solace and Diarra got into it, and
which is another thing that could have been a bad IQ moment because they
that was no discipline by the players, and that's unacceptable to me too. But
But as far as Keats standing up for his team and his players, I think he just gotten tired of like the one-sidedness. State having to play 5-on-8. It just felt like we were getting bullied around by referees over the last however many games, and this fan base embraces Salty Dave, and so Salty Kevin or whatever we want to call the nickname for Kevin Keatt. I think this fan base just loves that, right? And it just makes them feel like one of us because we've been living with it most of our lives.
Same stuff for the past like 4 games too.
Yeah. So I think it was strategic. And Kevin even said that he deserved the first tech, but the second one came quick. I mean, like unless he said something, one of those magic words.
Yeah, I want to know what was said.
It was a quick hook. I mean, it was like a really quick hook.
And they
he probably said unsweet tea is better than sweet tea. And he was like, "Oh no, you're out. You get out of this game." Yeah.
That's awesome.
But something like that. No,
yeah.
But no, that was Go ahead, Lindsay.
Nope. I was just gonna move on. Go
let's
ahead.
move on. I was gonna say let's go on to the next tweet. That kind of rips that one up.
We have one more basketball related tweet this week.
I'm right now.
Yeah, so
shout out to the county for y'all still going to school the next day.
Yeah, going back to that tweet of, hey, discuss about with Keats, do we let Keats go? And maybe you lose some players coming in. Well, if you did, you would potentially, I mean, maybe he would still want to sign. He likes the coach, but like This dude right here signed for 2024, Paul McNeil Jr.
Out of Richmond.
6'7" shooting guard that broke the North Carolina state record for single game scoring. Like he has the all-time highest number of points scored in a single game. Don't think the opponent he played was very tough.
Yeah, Lee County.
But there's been a lot of games where players have played really poor competition and couldn't put up 71 points. Right? I think he scored something like 20 points more than the whole other team did combined. It was like 100 something to 50 something.
How I can describe the hypeness for this player is he played against, my cousin goes to Union Pines, and my Nana went and supported Paul McNeil. So that describes the hypeness for state fans. And I mean, he's really freaking good. So
I mean, it was a record that stood like 67 years, 64 years, something like that.
I don't remember the number, but it was 60
to
be able to break a record like that, and how many great North Carolina basketball players that have come out of the state. That's something. Now, and like at 71, but this dude can score. He's not like 20, 30 point games that he just had a huge night this one game. And so big game. I think that's a really exciting player for state next year. I think he's a guy who come in right away and score for you, especially when you're struggling from three and a guy can shoot at 6'7" as a shooting guard. That's NBA size. And he just probably honestly needs to add a little muscle and just, I don't know what his defense looks like, but this dude, to be able to do this record, congrats to Paul McNeil Jr. and state fans. I know we were all pretty excited about that. I had a guy when they was at the game, Paul McNeil was at the game against Virginia Tech, and they said, welcome or congrats Paul McNeil on breaking the North Carolina scoring record. And I had a guy behind me, he's like, he didn't even know who he was. I was like, let me tell you real quick who this guy is. So really good for state. So
and another side note, since y'all said this was the last basketball, I mean, shout out to Baby T balling out.
Yeah, first NBA points. I think he had 2 that night, didn't he?
He had 6. He had 6 points.
Like, 2 threes,
3 pointers.
Like 20 seconds.
And I think were they back to back?
Pretty much, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he ended up going 2 for 3.
Got the game ball game ball that night. Yeah,
against the Orlando Magic.
Miss him.
Yeah, that's great. So, all right. So shifting gears here, some big news, like a kind of a teaser, if you will, for what's coming out on the 24th, Wednesday. We got our first look, a sneak peek, if you will, at what the ACC football schedule is going to look like in 2024. And NC State, we all knew they were playing Western Carolina the first game, but what day they played them was unknown. And now we know it's Thursday. It's a Thursday night game.
Thursday night,
for against Western Carolina, obviously at home. That, to me, when I saw that come out, I thought, really, Thursday night for against Western Carolina? But then I thought, that's going to be a pretty fun game as a just a fan, if you're a fan, because you're going to really probably see NC State just destroy them. And on a Thursday night game, it'll be fun being there in the Thursday night environment.
Red lights.
So it's just cool also knowing, like, okay, we actually got a schedule coming out this week. So, any thoughts you guys have on this? Any matchups you like here? I didn't realize Florida State and Boston College play week 1. That was kind of interesting to me.
Yeah, that is interesting.
Yeah, a couple of things here. Also, tomorrow they're going to release all the Thursday and Friday games, so we still may get a couple more games, maybe one more tomorrow from a Thursday, Friday perspective.
Yeah,
and then Wednesday, the Wednesday, the remaining schedule gets released. But back to this game, I think this is good for a couple of reasons. One, it is a night game in August, September timeframe, so it should be a little bit cooler, which is always a nice thing. And then it does give us a couple extra days to prepare for that matchup against Tennessee the following week.
I think
Go ahead, Ken.
I think it gives us a lot of momentum going into that game too. Like the energy for these new guys coming in, the transfers and recruits. It's like seeing this fan base on a night game, your first game. Like that is pretty cool. That's pretty awesome. So to see that and then know that next week you're going to have a ton of them traveling to Charlotte. So I feel like that can put a lot of kick in their step as well.
Yeah, valid point.
Yeah, a few thoughts I have on this additional thoughts I have on this. One, it is super weird seeing Stanford, Cal, and SMU on this schedule. And I'm looking at Cal and SMU's opponents. I'm like, oh, who the heck are those opponents? Like, I don't even know. And I'll probably never care because they're somewhere out in Texas and California. So I thought the Stanford TCU might be the first game I watched of like the new ACC member Stanford. That might be a somewhat interesting game. But then also
It's funny.
Check out that Clemson Georgia matchup on the Saturday. I did not, and then Miami Florida. Those two matchups are going to be pretty interesting to watch. I know State. I think State plays Clemson next year, so it'll be interesting to see that. But I'm going to be curious about what Stanford and TCU and then Clemson Georgia do. I think Virginia Tech. We don't play Virginia Tech this last season, but is Vanderbilt going to be back in their stadium by chance?
Yes. They were this year. Everything should be done as far as the construction, at least the first phase anyway.
Well, yeah, I think there's a few games there that I'll be interested in, but I think
on a side note, who the heck is Cal playing?
That's what I said. Who the heck is Southern Methodist playing?
Is that Abilene Christian?
No, they're like purple.
Just taking a guess.
Yeah, I don't know. I genuinely have no idea.
Who did you ask? Who SMU was playing?
That's
not UConn, is it? Is it
no,
no, it's not.
If you zoom in, it's I guess you can't accept.
Maybe it's a retro UConn logo, but it's not.
I don't think so because it has like a red border around it.
What day is that one? I can't read that.
That's Saturday.
The Puerto Rican Huskies is what it is.
That's Saturday for week 1. All right, so I'll just pull up SMU football. Hold on.
Right. Yeah. And while you do that, we had a quote tweet of this as well with an interesting point about the season.
Yeah, so Drew Johnson had a tweet. He said, "Reminder: this is a long season due to a late Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Each team will have 14 weeks to play 12 games. That means 2 bye weeks. And then it's the favorite of Joe Giglio. But yeah, I did not.
I thought that was interesting. Yeah, I thought that was interesting for sure.
2 bye weeks. So if you're State, you're kind of hoping they come mid to late in the season. Maybe. I sometimes I wonder the States. I don't know. They didn't do UNC any favors last season, but State has such an easy schedule. I would love for those bye weeks to come up against their tougher matchups. So like if you could get it like before the Clemson game, or you could get it before the you won't get it before the Carolina game, but you could maybe get it before a Georgia Tech road game, which I want to call the tougher game, but you could maybe get it there. Syracuse at home. Syracuse got Kyle McCord now from Ohio State. New coach though. But yeah, we'll see. It'll be really interesting. It's just to me, it's really cool seeing a sneak peek of the schedule. And to Greg's point, we'll maybe see some more tomorrow. But we'll definitely see the full schedule for those who are wondering will be released on the 24th. So that's Wednesday.
All right.
I don't know the exact time, but.
All right. So I have some loops to close here. So Cal plays UC Davis. I don't know how you get Davis out of CNA. I guess just California, I guess.
Baseball team.
Yeah. And then SMU, that is the HCU Huskies, which is Houston Christian, which is the Fighting Huskies. So there you go.
Gotcha.
Those are those two teams. But again, to your point, Macon, like we never
who I will never care who that is.
Right. But now you kind of do because they're in your conference.
I will say a positive. I'm going to be educated on some teams I didn't know existed.
That's fair.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, all right. Well, that's who they are. So
one more football tweet.
Yeah, let's keep going. And so the awards and the accolades keep coming in for KC Concepcion. The first Wolfpack player named freshman All-American by the Football Writers Association of America. None other than KC Concepcion. And have they given out the Sean Alexander Award yet for Freshman of the Year?
I feel like they had to have. Let me see if
because I gotta think it's between this guy and Caleb Downs, the safety from Alabama. But I don't know, that's a thought I have. I've been wondering about that because I know that he was on the finalist list for that, but I don't remember seeing any sort of a national mention of this. But I think KC's just going to keep getting these awards, and he's gotten a few of these national first All-Americans awards so far. But another one added to his record books.
There's a guy from Right, that isn't. That's the FCS. What is this? This is not even. Google.
We'll need to close that loop later, I guess. But
Yeah.
We'll come back.
Yeah, but that's that. So yeah, great. So all right, ACC had some their first season of gymnastics. I know the women's gymnastics team did beat UNC, and they did announce their ACC Gymnast of the Week, and their NC State had their first player on the list with Chloe Negrete or Negret. Is it Negret or Negrete?
I think it's Negretti, right?
Negretti. I couldn't remember.
I think
Negretti. Yep. So I did not watch this matchup. I imagine Leighton did.
He was there. He covered it.
I was there too.
Yeah.
You there? What you think, Lindsay?
Yeah, so State beat UNC by almost a full point, which for any of our viewers who don't keep up as much with gymnastics goes into full points and then point and then 3 decimal places. So winning by almost a full point is a lot in gymnastics. It was a really good showing. The team looks very well established and put together for the point in the season that it is. And Chloe was the first ever ACC Specialist of the Week last week and is now ACC Gymnast of the Week. She picked up 2 individual titles at UNC this past weekend. So really just killing it for them. So just awesome. Shout out to her and the team in general.
Awesome. Side note, the winner of that award was Caleb Downs.
Oh
no.
Well.
No,
I think here's where the voting was, but yeah.
Okay.
Still looking it up. Anyways, but yeah, congrats to Chloe Negretti, and it's really awesome stuff. I know they had and it's just really cool seeing them have the first or the second, I guess, ACC gymnastics season. And for those who anybody's interested in that, obviously Tuffy Talks all over covering that. So we'll continue to do that the rest of the season. But
some people don't think we are.
Yeah,
I saw your Twitter.
Yeah, that almost was my suggestion for tweet of the week. So then I thought, are we really going to give that lady this kind of platform? No. So
no.
Anyways, we're going to shift gears here to another sport. We're going to go to ACC wrestling. So they just put out updated rankings. NC State is still number 1 in the ACC at number 8, and Virginia Tech is number 12. And I think it was Pitt, but I don't remember the number. And you're seeing all the tweets now, so it's good.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it's all good.
NC
State number 8, Virginia Tech 12, and Pitt 15. I don't think there's not been a ton of movement. I don't think on these rankings.
No, State's been 8 at least 2 weeks in a row now. But also they didn't have any wrestling weeks this past week. So
correct.
Yeah. So
not
much to see here other than they're ranked 8th and they're first in the ACC. So.
Yeah.
We're gonna get back into it starting this week. So
let's move on. Next one. All right. New sport. Another tweet on sports. We're gonna go ACC baseball now. 6 of the top 15 in the nation are in the ACC. So just looking at this, NC State's number 13. That's a really good preseason ranking. The question,
this is according to D1baseball.com.
Yeah, do you think that's justified, Greg?
I do. I think it might be a little low. We have a lot of talent coming in. In fact, we'll get into this in the baseball preview, but half of our team is new. We have 20 freshmen and 20 transfers. So it's not 20. I'm sorry. That doesn't sound right. I think it's maybe it is
maybe
right.
10 and 10.
No, it might be 20.
No,
I don't know. I'll have to figure it out. It might be 10 and 10.
Lots of newbies.
Yeah. So, just depending on how they gel, I think it's 10 and 10 now that I'm thinking about it. But I think it's right where we need to be. ACC is going to be a gauntlet again. But this is according to D1baseball.com. In the Baseball America poll that was released after this one, we came in at 16. So just for
to me, context. I look at Wake Forest as number 1. They're the clear-cut number 1 team, and then everybody else in the ACC that's in the top 15 is like in this mosh pit that they could. I mean,
right.
In theory, UNC could be the better team, or State could be the number 1 team, or Clemson could be the last team out of that set of 5.
Yeah, I mean, you have 12, 13, 14, and 15. So, to your point, that's pretty much a pick 'em, if you will.
Right. So it's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out. Do we know? Do we play all these teams this year? I know we play Carolina.
We definitely play Wake. We play Virginia. We play at Virginia. We play Carolina. Duke, I'm not sure we play, and
I'm gonna go and
Clemson,
look.
I think we do play.
Yeah,
But I
I'm
know
gonna
for a
go and
fact
look.
we play. I know for a fact we play 3 of those.
Yeah, I'm gonna go pull this up if I can find it. They play Boston College. I'm gonna say here Boston College at home, Georgia Tech on the road, Duke at home,
Nice.
Notre Dame at home, Louisville on the road, Clemson on the road, and
So we play all of them.
Carolina at home. Yep.
No Wake.
Florida State we play
away
in Florida. Virginia we play
at
Charlottesville.
UVA.
Yep, and Wake we play at home at the
that's the last
series of the year. Yep.
So we play everybody.
And so there's going to be a lot of opportunities to earn that. It's going to be really great. I think there's a lot of fun games there we're going to have to do. So, but yeah, top 15, states ranked 13th according to D1 baseball.
Yep, we'll have we'll be doing our season preview. We got a great guest for our season preview. We have a Pac-9 alumni who
sneak peek. What's the teaser, Greg? What's the teaser? Is he?
It's a guy that everyone will know, and that he was on the Pac-9 last year, and he is starting pro ball. I guess we'll leave it at that because I get too much more, they'll guess it. But I'm excited. I'm excited for it, and that we'll be recording on the 4th of February, and so that will come out that following week. We're at about a week before the season starts, so obviously stay tuned for that.
Yep.
And there's one last thing I know we really want to highlight.
Yeah, guys. So this is something that Savage Wolves put out. They obviously are the NIL group that is supporting football. And if you don't know who they are by now, they've been a big reason why you're seeing Noah Rogers, Dalen Smothers, Hollywood Smothers, why you're going to see all these players come in, Grayson McCall come in, Justin Jolie. You're like, hey, how are we? What's guys? All these guys coming in. Part of that is because of the NIL stuff, right? And so they are trying. They have a goal this year to try to hit 2,400 new members, and they just put out like a fun challenge to, I guess, 4 of the NC State social media groups out there, and try to get some like a fun little competition going. But they had a prize they mentioned about for those who join, and I guess the most members. So it doesn't matter I guess by the way this is written, it doesn't matter the quantity of dollars you're giving. It is just that you join. So even if you can give $10 a month, this counts towards this. It would allow Tuffy Talk to have, and everybody here get on a call where we can have Tony Gibson and one member, and get Tony Gibson on the call, and we can get one member of Tuffy Talk to the pro day. One of
the new members that joined, not a member of Tuffy
not
Talk.
us. I mean, technically, I'm considering joining. I've been giving like a one-time gifts, but I mean, anybody who joins out of Tuffy Talk, if we have the majority of I guess members that join from our show and our group, I guess our family here, so to speak, then one of you guys will get picked and get to go to the pro day. So again, I know people think, oh man, I can't give like $100 a month, but even if it's $10, that kind of comes up to $120 a year. That still has impacts for what they want to do, what we want to do on the recruiting side of things for NC State and the football team, and continue to build towards getting the ACC championship. 12-team playoff is coming up this year. So things like this are big, and you can help out in small ways. So feel free to join. There's a link there on that tweet. We have that on our I guess our
Twitter,
X whatever it is, page now. But be sure to join, guys. I mean, like, it's small ways, and you have a chance to have a really, couple cool things here.
Fall out.
Yeah, you get you can say how get an interview with Coach Tony Gibson. We could pick his brain about all kinds of things y'all wanted to, and then go see Peyton Wilson, try out for the his pro day in front of a whole bunch of NFL scouts there. So that's all I can say on that. Greg, you got anything?
Yeah, just a couple real quick things. If you're still unsure about NIL, go check out their website. It has everything laid out. We also interviewed Reed Johnson from One Pack NIL last week, who's the board president. We talk about a lot of things. So if you've got questions, if you need some help doing your homework, we're definitely here to help and get you pointed in the right direction to the good resources. But yeah, like Macon said, if we, Reed and I said, we got to pay that red light bill. So they need every dollar. And if you want to continue on with this, what's the word I'm looking for? Momentum. We definitely need everyone because we can't keep relying on the same people to pay up every year. So, they're really needing to reach out to some new folks.
But again, just to recap, goal is 2,400 members for them.
2,400. Yep.
And if you guys you feel like you're able to even give like $10, I would challenge you to do $10 a month if you can. If you can't, I get that too. But it's $10. Tom does it like a fast food meal at Chick-fil-A, right? It's something like that. It's just to put into comparison. So
it's less than a Netflix subscription.
Right. There you go. Is it really? How much is Netflix now?
It's like $14 now for Netflix.
Oh, is it really?
Anyway, so we're competing just we're just a friendly competition that Savage Wolves is encouraging everybody to do. And I don't know when the closing
February
date
5th.
is for this. February 5th. Okay.
Yeah.
That's right there. Okay. But it's between Tuffy Talk. It's between IPS or Inside Pack Sports. It's between Pack Pride and the Wolf Packer.
And actually, they had one late entry inside Packs. The Pack Insider. They joined in on this
Pack
afternoon.
Insider. Okay, so Tuffy Talk, Inside Pack Sports, Pack Pride, Wolf Packer, and Pack Insider. So we've got 5 we're competing against, and obviously the whole thing is going towards the Savage Wolves. But hey, if you guys can join, members, let us know. Send a tweet and or a message on X that says, "Hey, I just became a member," and you can probably caption Savage Wolves NIL.
I think you had to send a DM or something too.
Yeah, so just make sure if you join to let us know. Let us know if all the instructions there. Yeah. So that's all I got. I think on that. Anything else, Lindsay?
Nope, that's it.
All right. Any other closing thoughts you guys had for this week? All right, guys. Well, hey, Wolfpack Nation, we are just really thankful for you guys and really enjoy getting to spend time with you. I appreciate everybody in the comments just joining in the conversation. Really excited about some basketball matchups. Again, I think NC State women play on the road at Clemson on Thursday. NC State men's basketball plays on the road Wednesday against UVA. Just a couple of the basketball matches that I know that are coming up this week for you guys. So be on the lookout. Maybe we do a watch party. I saw a comment that says no more watch parties, but
we keep losing. We're like 1-3.
Bad feng shui. So we're just really thankful for you guys and enjoy getting to spend time with all of y'all. And as always, go Pack.